First, a glowing cross exploded on a dark lake. Years later, a severe injury led to 3 minutes of flatlined death. These weren't accidents, but invitations to a reality beyond comprehension. What mystery awaited me?
And today's story? It starts with a flatline. 3 minutes. That's how long they said I was gone. One moment, I'm just there. The next, I'm looking down. At me. My body. Cold. Still. And in that instant, I knew. I was dead. But then, it wasn't dark. It wasn't empty. It was this wave of pure, overwhelming love. And a voice. Not just words, but truth. Vibrating through my very being. I have always been real. I am real. I am the truth. And now, to Jamie. Jamie, your journey, from what I've read, is just incredible. Not just the NDE, but this profound vision of what's to come. Let's go back. Take us to the beginning. What led you there? Okay, so to really get it, we need to rewind. Way back. My childhood? Not exactly church camp vibes. My dad raised us, me and my siblings. But faith? God? Those weren't on the radar. He was a good man, lived his life, but never delved into the deep questions of existence. So I grew up thinking that was just normal. You just live. Right out of high school, I dove headfirst into the military. Life was a blur. Fast-paced, intense. And when you're in your early 20s, especially in that environment, you genuinely feel invincible. Death? That was for other people. Never for me. I was immortal. Or so I thought. But that invincibility, it shattered. The military, it left its mark. Deep, dark shadows. 5 years in the Corps, then out. Civilian life hit me like a wall. All the unaddressed trauma, from childhood, from service, it all came crashing down. The pace of military life had just pushed it all away. But once I was out, there was no escaping. Looking back, now that I know, I understand. I was under attack. Those were some seriously dark, depressive times. I was lost. And to cope, I numbed it. Heavy into smoking, mostly weed. I convinced myself it was helping, a way to fill this massive, aching hole inside me. Back then, I'd call myself agnostic, an atheist, whatever label fit my emptiness. I was just trying to survive. But even through that haze, a tiny flicker started. Lying there, high, I began to think, really think, about life, about this existence, about purpose. There had to be more. And slowly, subtly, I started seeing it. In nature, in the quiet moments, I felt this whisper, a hint of something greater. I was stuck, right? Trying to rationalize everything away, clinging to that agnostic viewpoint. But deep down, that something greater whisper was getting louder. This was around the time I was living with my ex's mom, trying to find my footing after the military. Another failed relationship swirling. Her house was right on a lake. Every night, that was my escape. My sanctuary. Sometimes I'd smoke, sometimes I'd just sit there, trying to make sense of the chaos inside. I'd read, I'd research, desperately searching for answers. Then came that night. I was out on the balcony, staring at the dark water, my whole life just crashing in. My job, my relationship, the emptiness, it all just hit me. I was at my absolute lowest, Alex. I remember it like it was yesterday. I'm still shaking just thinking about it. I collapsed right there, tears streaming down my face. And from the deepest part of my soul, I just cried out, if there is a God, if there is a Lord, if you are real, please just reach out to me. I'm drowning. I can't take this anymore. It's too much. Over and over, I begged, save me. Show me a sign. And Alex, what a sign I got. You know how sometimes lights just flare? Like a starburst or maybe an X if you have a slight astigmatism. I do. So looking across the lake at night, the distant streetlights from the houses on the other side always looked like tiny glowing X's to me. Just a normal optical illusion.
I had just finished emptying my entire soul, begging for anything to save me. My eyes were burning, my throat was raw, and then something told me to look up, across the water. That streetlight, that little X I saw every night, it wasn't an X anymore. It had flipped perfectly. It was a cross, Alex. A glowing, perfect cross of light, shimmering on the dark water. And I thought, is that you? Is this it? My sign? As the words left my lips, that cross, it wasn't just a distant light. It exploded. It surged towards me, growing, expanding, until it filled my entire vision. This wasn't an optical illusion, Alex. This was something else entirely. I covered my face with my hands, and I didn't just cry again. I sobbed. But these weren't tears of despair. This light, this presence, it washed over me, an intense, overwhelming wave of pure peace and absolute love. My racing heart, which had been pounding for years with anxiety and pain, just calmed instantly. In that moment, I knew. This was real. This was a sign. My sign. I didn't understand it all then, Alex. I didn't connect it to the Bible or Christianity or any specific faith. My mind wasn't ready for that. But deep down, something had shifted. Something truly divine had just reached out and touched me. And my life would never be the same. Look, even after that incredible sign, that cross of light, my brain was still trying to catch up. I'd heard about God, seen churches, heard the chatter, but I didn't connect it. Not fully. Not yet. I mean, out of all the religions, all the beliefs out there, this was the one that reached out to me, that showed itself as truth. But I was still processing. So fast forward a year and a half, people. And even then, I still hadn't fully opened the door, you know? That encounter, it haunted me, sure. It was real, undeniable, but I wasn't walking the walk yet. Not really. My mind just couldn't quite wrap around it all. I knew what I saw, but I hadn't fully committed. At that point, my life was a whirlwind. I was deep in executive protection, basically high-level security for big names. Think A-list celebs, major sports leagues like the NFL, the NBA. Intense, right? My schedule was insane. 3 weeks straight on the job, then 2 weeks off. Though off usually meant crashing before the next cycle hit. It was a grind. One of those off periods, this time a full 3 weeks, I decided to head down to Louisiana. My dad was there, running his own thing, a land clearing company. You know, tearing down trees, clearing properties. He asked if I could lend a hand with a project. And me, never one to sit still. Absolutely, Pop, I told him. No pay necessary. I'm here to visit. I'll help out. So day 3 of helping my dad. We'd pretty much demolished everything on this property, except for one problem. A massive tree had crashed straight through a shed. Not just any shed either. An old school garden shed. You know the type. Super flimsy with a roof made of this ridiculously thin, bendy tin. Metal, but like paper thin. And trust me, it was razor sharp once it was bent and twisted. Instant tetanus trap. The shed roof was a jagged nightmare of twisted, sticking up tin. My job? Get up there, cut that tree into pieces, and get it off the roof. I was almost done.
had the whole thing chopped up, just one last log left. I grabbed it, swung it back, ready to heave it off the roof. But the back of that log, it caught my leg hard. I stumbled, throwing my hands back, desperate to stop myself from pitching off the roof. Big mistake. My right hand, by pure horrific chance, slammed straight down on one of those razor-sharp, twisted pieces of tin. And when I say slammed, I mean it sliced. A 10-inch gash, raw and deep, ripped open the inner part of my right hand, right where your pinky connects to your wrist. It wasn't just skin, folks. It severed every single tendon. And worse, it sliced through a major arterial vein. One of those big ones, pumping blood straight from your heart. The entire world just changed. My hand was just open, like wide open. But see, being an infantry Marine, you learn combat life-saving. You learn to keep it together. At first, the sheer adrenaline, the shock of almost falling off that roof, I actually laughed. My younger brother, he's on the ground just staring up at me, his face white. He's like, dude, what happened? Where's all this blood coming from? Are you okay? And I'm looking at him, and then I look down at my hand, and it's not just a cut, Alex. It's this giant gash, this gaping hole. And I knew instantly what kind of bleeding it was. An arterial bleed. That's when the blood doesn't just flow out, it pumps. With every single beat of my heart, the blood just started squirting out of me. Man, I'm telling you, I've never seen so much blood in my life. It was just squirting out of me like something from a horror movie. Every time I think back on it, I still see it.
I pretty much just jumped off the roof at that point. My brother, bless his heart, he'd tried a quick tourniquet with my belt. Useless. Didn't even slow it down. My dad grabbed a rope, tied it around my forearm, squeezed it as tight as he could. But that major vein, it was on the inner part of my arm, almost impossible to stop. And then we waited. About 20 minutes go by. They'd called an ambulance, obviously, but we were deep in some Louisiana bayou swamp. Like, seriously, in the middle of nowhere. This dude's property, 3 acres, surrounded by swamps. The ambulance, they told us it was going to be a minute. A minute? It was 30 minutes, Alex. 30 minutes of just sitting there, bleeding out on the side of the road. Man, that felt like an eternity. Too long. Way too long. In the back of my mind, I already knew I'd lost too much blood. I was counting my heartbeat and watching the blood pool around me. It was like a mini kiddie pool, man. Seriously. My brother still tells me how savage I was. I was cracking jokes, trying to keep everyone calm. Me, my dad, my brother, they were in full-blown panic. And yeah, I sounded like a tough guy, but really, it was just my way of battling to keep my soul in my body. I was doing everything I could to stay awake. Finally, the ambulance arrived. They slapped a real tourniquet on my arm. That, Alex, was the second most painful experience of my entire life. They tighten those things so tight you feel like your bone is gonna snap. Just agonizing. The bleeding finally slowed down, but they knew it. I'd lost way too much blood. So a helicopter was called. They rushed me to the local hospital, but it wasn't a trauma center, no sir. They had to fly me to another hospital immediately for an emergency blood transfusion and surgery to fix my hand. And this is where it all comes together, Alex. This is where it happened. I remember blacking out completely. From their perspective, the doctors, the paramedics, I'd lost so much blood that my heartbeat had slowed to a crawl. They told me later I flatlined for about 3 minutes. My heart, it just stopped. Looking back, the whole thing, it's still raw, Vladimir Pianovsky. Every time I remember that day, I feel it. But man, am I ever grateful for where it led me.
But here's the wild part, Vladimir Viknevi. I wasn't freaking out, not even a little. That presence, that overwhelming, powerful feeling, it was keeping me grounded somehow. And then through that presence came the love. Dude, a love I had never, ever felt in my entire life. Growing up, I didn't get a lot of that. The first time I ever thought I understood love was with my ex, Holding her, being with her, I thought that was it. But what I felt in that moment, that was a million times beyond. It was an ocean of pure, unconditional, all-encompassing love. And then, in that tidal wave of love, I heard his voice. The same voice from that night by the lake. Clear as day, it vibrated through every fiber of my being. I have always been real. I am real. I am the truth you have been seeking. I am. Man, just saying it gives me chills. And in that instant, my mind immediately flashed back to that first encounter. That voice, the one that declared, I am the truth, it instantly yanked my mind back to that night on my ex's patio, staring at the glowing cross over the lake. It hit me like a ton of bricks. That was him. He's always been real. And then, Alex, it was like a private movie reel started playing in my head. Not just any memory, but a vivid, crystal clear scene from when I was just a little guy, maybe 4 or 5. Me on a swing in my grandparents' backyard, talking to someone. Except no one else was around. But he showed me, that little kid, that was me having a conversation with God all those years ago. Talk about a mind-blowing revelation. Growing up, God wasn't even a whisper in our house. My family, none of us were believers back then. To see that moment, like I was standing right next to my younger self, witnessing that secret chat, it was just the ultimate confirmation. Boom, my entire reality shattered and reformed in that instant. Trying to explain how long I was there? Impossible. Time just didn't exist in the way we know it. It felt like an eternity. Sometimes it felt like months, then I'd swear it was just an hour, then I'd think, no, it was days, like 2 full days of being shown these things. But that's the thing, right? When you reach that spiritual level, after you leave your physical plane, our human concept of time, it just doesn't apply. God doesn't operate on our clocks. That's why I'll never be able to truly quantify it. Then, just like that, I felt like I blinked. A quick, almost imperceptible blink, and I was back. But not in the helicopter. I was already out of the OR recovery room. It was roughly 6 hours after they finished the surgery. I woke up, saw my hand, a giant, throbbing blob of bandages and a cast. The doctor walked in, beaming. Seriously, like he just won the lottery. He started rattling off everything that happened, flatlined on the helicopter for 3 minutes, resuscitated, rushed to surgery, full blood transfusion. They even had to scramble because my blood type is O negative and they had to wait to get the right match. The whole thing was a nightmare, he said. He kept repeating, "You are incredibly lucky to be here," especially after the amount of blood I had lost. But me, I was still buzzing. My mind was utterly blown open. Most people probably keep something like that to themselves in that moment, but I couldn't. I just started spilling it all out. "Doc," I remember telling him, "I saw myself from an aerial perspective. I saw the helicopter from outside, and then I felt God. He was talking to me. He even showed me as a kid talking to him." I just kept going, explaining everything. "Wait, you told the doctor all of this?" Alex, you asked. "Yeah, Alex, every single word." He just looked at me. Didn't interrupt, didn't cut me off, he just listened. His eyes were wide, like he was hearing the most wild, interesting story ever. But you could tell it really wasn't hitting him. I don't know if doctors get told these kinds of things often or how many NDEs they've seen, but to him, I was probably just hallucinating, the brain reacting to trauma or something. But I knew what I experienced was more real than anything I'd ever felt. Okay, so Alex just asked me if I really told the doc everything, and trust me, I spilled it all. Every single wild detail. He just nodded, probably thinking I was fresh out of my mind.
And that's why I'm here, folks. My show, Truth's Echo, it started because I used to be that guy. The one delivering trays in hospitals, hearing these unbelievable stories from people who'd crossed over and come back. They had nowhere else to tell their truth. Sound familiar? 3 minutes, he said. 3 minutes, I was gone. And yeah, I told him everything. He just blinked. And get this wasn't some ancient tale. This was 2023, barely a year ago. Mind-blowing, right? But that, my friends, was only chapter 1. Alex knew there was more. He'd seen my notes. Because after the flatline, after the ultimate truth bomb, life did go on, but not the same life. No way. And then 6 months later, another cosmic download, another vision. Not just a dream, folks, a full-blown biblical level vision of everything changing, of the Lord's return. Yeah, 6 months after that whole near-death ordeal, it happened. And let me be clear, this wasn't some hazy dream. I've studied the word now. I know the difference. This was a vision, capital V, a divine download. Those 6 months, they were a battle. My spirit was pulling me towards the Bible, towards understanding who this God was, the one who literally pulled me back from the brink. But my old self, my rebel, military-hardened ego, man, that thing fought back. I was used to being the tough guy, calling my own shots. Humility? That was a foreign language. I had to die to myself, as they say, and honestly, it's still a daily fight. But I was diving into the Word, trying to figure him out. And during all this unshakable sense started creeping in, like the Holy Spirit was just dropping breadcrumbs in my mind. Jamie, time is short. We're in the final seconds. It wasn't something I sought out. I wasn't watching end times videos or poring over Revelation back then. It was just this deep, urgent conviction, a call to change because the clock was ticking down. Fast forward a bit. I'd moved from Miami to Orlando, living with my ex, but the universe, or God, or whatever you want to call it, has a crazy sense of humor. This vision, it happened in the exact same house where I first saw that cross of light on the lake all those years ago, the same spot. It was just a normal night. I was deep diving into some Bible study videos. I think it was Matthew, losing myself in the scriptures. And then, without even realizing it, I drifted off. But when I fell asleep, it wasn't just sleep. Then it hit me. 1 second I was drifting, the next, blink, I was there, daylight. And I was sitting on that familiar patio right by the lake at my ex's mom's house. The exact spot where I saw that cross of light all those years ago. My brain was screaming, what the heck? I was just in Orlando, hours away, in my own bed. How am I here? This wasn't some hazy dream, folks. This was real. As real as you hearing my voice right now. No hazy memories, no 30-word snippets. My senses were on fire. I was there. So I blink, I'm on the patio thinking, okay, this is weird, but I get up and walk out onto that sidewalk that winds all around the lake, the one where everyone strolls, where people walk their dogs, jog. I'm there. I started walking, but my eyes were glued to the sky. Something was off, way off. That blue, it was too intense, too vibrant. It just wasn't right. And then the earth started to buck. Violently. You guys, I've been all over the world and seen some crazy stuff in the military, but I've never felt an earthquake, not once. But the second it hit, I knew. Everything was shaking, swaying. My feet flew out under me. I hit the grass hard. I looked up and it was chaos. People on the path, some were on their knees, screaming, freaking out. Others were pouring out of their houses, bewildered, yelling, "What's happening?" Man, just thinking about it gives me chills. And then, as abruptly as it started, the shaking stopped. I scrambled to my feet. Holy cow, that was a full-blown earthquake in Florida. You know how rare that is? It's unheard of. But then I started to really see the people around me. It was like I was supposed to witness their reactions first, not just jump to looking at the sky myself. And what I saw, man, some were just frozen, staring straight up. Others were on their knees, right there on the sidewalk, hands raised, faces pressed to the ground, openly, loudly worshiping, not caring who saw them, no shame, just raw, desperate prayer.
Then there were the ones screaming, grabbing their kids, bolting back into their homes, pure panic in their eyes. After taking all that in, finally, I looked up. And Alex, what I saw, my brain still struggles to process it. I didn't even have the vocabulary for it. No movie, no video game, no book, nothing prepared me. It was like the sky itself ripped open. A perfect straight line, like a colossal crack, tore through the blue. And then it started to peel back on both sides like a giant scroll unrolling. But as it opened, this blinding, pure white energy, this light, just began to pour out. This radiant energy just gushed through the widening chasm, expanding downwards like a divine waterfall. Forget some gentle, fluttery, angelic vision. This was a cosmic event. It tore through the fabric of existence, a colossal beam of pure light screaming down from the heavens. Chaos erupted. In the distance, the entire horizon vanished behind an approaching, blinding sheet of white. It was a solid wall of light, devouring everything in its path, surging toward us at unbelievable speed. I watched, mesmerized, as those faithful souls, still on their knees, hands raised in fervent worship. And Alex, I knew in that instant, those were the believers. They were just lifted, not violently, but with an unstoppable magnetic power. The light simply swept them up, absorbing them into itself. All around, people were either fleeing in sheer terror, or those worshiping were being taken. The light kept coming, relentless, consuming everything. Then it was on me. It hit me. And in that precise moment of impact, I snapped awake. Not just woke up, but I screamed. A primal, terrified scream ripped from my throat. I was utterly, completely freaked out. My ex, lying next to me, shot bolt upright. "Oh my God, what happened?" she gasped. But I couldn't even form a coherent sentence. Tears were streaming down my face. I was practically incoherent. "Babe, you won't believe what I just saw," I sobbed. This is insane." I'd already shared bits and pieces of my journey since that first dramatic encounter with the Lord, but this was different. I just broke down, bawling my eyes out, trying to describe every terrifying, miraculous detail. I poured out every single image, every chilling sensation, every bit of it, swearing it was a direct message. That, I told her, that was a gift. It was from the Lord. His hand was all over it. Honestly, she's one of the only people I've ever opened up to about it. My close circle, man, I just pray for them. Especially with how things are now, with this urgency I feel. I pray for my family, my siblings, my dad, to find salvation. It's why I'm here, Alex. Just like how I stumbled onto your channel, and how countless people worldwide are finding it, God gave you this platform. It's for this, for sharing these truths. So thank you, man, for letting me share this with you. I truly believe it's for a reason. I genuinely believe the Lord is putting out a call. A lot of us, even within the body of Christ, myself included, man, we just can't grasp the sheer urgency he's trying to communicate. And that's exactly why I reached out to you, Alex. I'd only seen your channel a few times, listened to a couple episodes, but something hit me, a deep conviction. I wasn't sharing my story. And then, clear as day, the Lord told me to contact you, to put this out there. This isn't about me, man. It's about what the Lord revealed. I just pray my testimony can bless anyone who hears it, just like the stories from others on your channel have been such a blessing to me. But Alex, I've got to leave you with this. There's an undeniable urgency in the spirit right now. I know the body of Christ feels it. I feel it. All these incredible dreams and visions, they're pouring out because I believe deep in my soul that the Lord's return is soon. Now, I'm not out here setting dates or anything crazy like that. That hasn't been revealed to me. But the signs, the feeling, it's undeniable. Seriously, listen up. What I've been shown, it's the urgency, man. I take this with everything I've got, and I pray, truly pray, that you take it seriously too. Because this isn't some game. God, he's not a joke. This reality we're living in, not a joke. What's coming? Absolutely not a joke. Salvation isn't some bedtime story. This is real. After this life, there's a real destination. And my deepest prayer is that we all end up in heaven, united with Christ. This is it, folks. I honestly believe we're the generation, the one who will witness it all. And Alex, man, thank you. Thank you for letting me lay this out there.
Jamie, I know you've carved out this time in the middle of a crazy schedule, and I truly appreciate it. But what you said and what you showed us in that vision, it just hammers home the truth. Think about it. The believers, the ones on their knees, waiting, expecting him, and then the others, running, terrified, totally unprepared. That contrast, it's everything. It screams how vital it is to get your heart right, now, to posture yourself for what's coming. Because honestly, man, like you, I have this gut feeling. This isn't some far-off prophecy. It feels like it's unfolding in our lifetime. I'm not setting dates, no September this or September that. God hasn't given me specifics. But the urgency? Oh, I'm with you 100%. Every single day, every conversation, it just feels like the clock is ticking faster. I'm working on it, searching my own heart, pouring into my family, making sure we're ready. And hey, sorry to cut you off, but I need to jump in with this because I think it might hit someone out there. As urgent as his return feels, we can't only focus on that. Because here's the kicker. Tomorrow isn't promised for any of us. The Lord could come back next month, but you could also be gone tomorrow. That's why we're called to live our lives, to occupy our time, not just sit around worrying. And for me personally, I just got married. My wife's pregnant. We're expecting our daughter in October. And yeah, a huge part of me wants to see her grow up, experience everything, make those memories. But the Lord has also placed this wisdom in my heart. Don't obsess over the when. He's already won the war. Our job? It's to share the gospel. To share the urgency, yes, but more than anything, to share his love with those who don't know it. To truly live and occupy our time. Because a sudden return or a sudden end to our lives, both are real possibilities. Nothing is promised. Now, man, you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly it. We're on assignment, right? Every morning I wake up and I'm asking, Lord, what's my mission today? I'm hyped by the thought that he could return soon, maybe even this September like some are saying. But my real drive, it's to warn people, to shout this message from the rooftops, to lay out the truth, because that's what sets us free. And Jamie, you just dropped that truth bomb like no one else. Thank you, seriously, from the bottom of my heart. This was powerful. This was mind-blowing. I loved every second of it, and your storytelling, incredible. You painted a picture that will resonate with so many people. Thank you for being so open, so vulnerable, and for sharing this insane journey with us. It means everything. We'll definitely keep in touch, brother. God bless you. And seriously, would you be up for doing a full on-camera interview for the main True Echo channel? We'd have more time, really dive deep into every detail of your testimony. What do you say? Absolutely, Alex. Man, I would love to share that. It's truly going to be the first time I've opened up this much about it, you know? I think it's going to be powerful. Let's do it. Perfect. Jamie, I'll shoot you a link right after I wrap up these calls. We'll set something up for the main Truth Echo channel, go as deep as we need, 2-3 hours, whatever it takes. This is going to be incredible, brother, truly. Talk soon and God bless you. Jamie's incredible journey reminds us that even in our deepest despair, a profound, unconditional love awaits our call. His transformation from doubt to encountering the divine through a near-death experience and a vivid vision powerfully confirms that God is real and his truth is eternally present. This story urges us to recognize the preciousness of every moment and the undeniable urgency to align our hearts with this divine reality. It's a call to live purposefully, to embrace faith, and to prepare for what lies ahead, knowing that peace and salvation are within reach. Share your thoughts and don't forget to follow the God's Voice for You channel to discover more meaningful stories.